I must say, I really do love my parents, and I'm sure you all do as well, even if you guys have family issues. It's okay to have family issues. Sometimes it may be too much and lead to a divorce. I won't ask who has dealt through this, but I'm sure the ones that have felt anger, confusion, depression, etc. And I know, it sucks. I have personally dealt through this. I grew up with divorced parents. I was only a child when this happened, and trust me, I wish things were handled better for my sake and theirs. A parent's divorce is a family's divorce, and trust me, things really do change after that. Problem here is the lack of help that children, teens, or young adults get when parents divorce. The parents and the young adult children that may be older now deserve to know that this problem can have a solution, whether you are recently going through one or have grown up with it. I don't want anybody else to feel the pain I went through just because we had lack of information and education to help us. Trust me, divorce affects children a lot, both mentally and physically. Reason why I did this research. Now, let's go through the problem and how it affects the children within time growing up with into an adult. The problem is that young adult children can't cope with their parents' divorce, and parents don't have good methods to cope with them. At least they think they don't. Parents don't get the proper education or information to handle their divorce with their children. Sharon Pastor in the Mainline Family Law Center website said, well-intended parents whose marriage is over sometimes choose to wait until the children are older to actually get divorced. They guess that young adults will suffer less in their adjustment to their parents' separation than they would have as children. In fact, there's no such generalization that is true because no two children experience divorce in the same way, regardless of their age. Parents who choose to delay conflict reduction are not doing their children a favor at any age. I know parents don't always plan to get a divorce, but sometimes their methods of handling things aren't as good. They either weren't taught well when they were growing up, had little to no information on how to handle the divorce outcome, or expected their child, teenager, or young adult to move on from it. I know my parents did not handle it well. They practically told me to suck it up. I was only 7 years old, and it affected me ever since. This leads to my next problem. Children or young adults don't get the proper treatments and affects them physically and mentally. According to the CDC, which stands for Centers and Disease Control, the divorce rate in the United States is 3.2 per thousand people. That rate decreased by 18% between 2008 and 2016, as you see in the graph. While that may seem like good news, the marriage rate is also declining, indicating both marriage and divorce are out of reach for certain segments of the population. So how does this affect the children, teen, or young adult? As you see on this slide of results, it causes anxiety, depression, behavior problems, angry outbursts, problems controlling anger, physical violence towards others, lower grades in school compared to pre-divorce, substance abuse, incarceration, suicidal thoughts, feelings of guilt, shame, and blame, thinking that the divorce is their fault, decline in health, and social problems. These can be very problematic, but what can be the cause of the problem? Let us find out what the causes are. There are many reasons parents could get divorced. I picked two that have personally affected me. Lack of desire and or love is the first one. It's painful to have your parents divorced, but the reason behind it is even worse. Within time, I would see my parents constantly fighting or hearing yelling through the walls. It started becoming a daily thing where something private became public to me and my older brother. I was a child and had many questions, only to find out that my parents didn't love each other anymore. It was tough, and I'm sure other people that went through this had many questions of their own. How does this affect them? If parental commitment is not firm, if love is not lasting, and if loss of love is so painful, then what is an adolescent supposed to do when he or she comes to significant care for a social partner? Reluctance to make a loving commitment and to trust committed love can be hard to shake. In love relationships, older adolescents and adult children are divorced honorably come by issues with commitment that they can manage a number of self-protective ways. What is the second problem, or the second cause? A second problem would be cheating or infidelity. Paul DePompo, a clinical psychologist in Newport Beach, California, said, second to the death of a child or the loss of a spouse, and infidelity can be one of the most damaging life events for a family. This is a very personal one to me because it was when I was starting to realize the truth to everything. My father was cheating on my mom within the 20 years that they were married. It hit me hard. I was not the same happy child I was once. The divorce and infidelity caused anger in me, unexplained emotions. Leanne Natelli from the website The Star said, divorce is often ugly, but the consequences for kids when infidelity is involved can deepen their anxiety, anger, or confusion. Now, let's add some light to a dark place. Let's talk about the solutions to this problem. Going through a divorce isn't easy, but we can always end up with some good positivity from both parents and the child side. As parents, I know it's sometimes hard to co-parenting. Some parents may not have good relationships after the divorce, and some will. But it matters to be in the child's life regardless of age. My parents bond very well, so it makes things harder. But I know when it comes down to doing something for me, they will talk like mature adults. Parents, please find ways to communicate with your children, teen, young adults, or even grown adults. Find ways to not make them grow up faster than they should. The single most important way that parents can help their kids during a divorce is to have a cooperative relationship and keep conflicts to a minimum. Especially if your kids are still younger. It's important to reassure them repeatedly that you both love them, that the divorce was not their fault, and that they will always have two parents. It's also crucial to provide your kids with the practical information they'll want to know, like who will be driving them to school and where they will sleep. But the proof is the pudding. To provide them with the assurance they need, you will have to be a model of maturity. As children, teens, young adults, or even grown adults, this was never your fault. Always know that your parents will love you and communicate with them. Talk to them about your feelings and how you guys can get help for finding happy closure. Don't pick sides. Although adult children of divorce are often pressured to pick sides, especially when infidelity becomes an issue in the divorce, but they shouldn't do it. If you have rage towards one or both parents for choices that led to divorce, such as infidelity, abuse, or financial mismanagement, tell your grievance to a therapist who is unbiased of these matters. Choose who is in your life. After all, you are old enough to do so. Don't compare your own relationship to your parents'. It is natural to turn to your own romantic life and look for clues that it's turning in the same direction as your parents. Okay. Now that we have gone through this very sad topic, I just want to say that I hope this was a persuasive way for you guys to understand how I feel, what I think about it, and that I am here to support all of you. Please find help for anyone that sees this, whether it's work students or faculty, teachers, coaches, etc. Because I know this issue may have affected half of you in any age or form. Parents, please find ways to communicate with your kids. Don't let them grow up with anger and pain. Take them to a therapist or be there for them. I had to grow up way faster than I should, and I see things in different perspectives. I never got the help I needed, but hopefully someone else does.